Hello and welcome to Get Wet with Marla. I am Marla. As you see, we are kicking it old school today, vintage style, back in the bubble bath. We are taking a little break from the set for a minute while it's getting cleaned and scrubbed and all that good stuff. So I figured this was the perfect opportunity to open up with some of the questions that people have been writing. I get flooded each week, and by the way, I love it, so keep them coming, but with questions about topics that we should discuss. So today, I would like to open up with a question for you. I have a great question that was written to me by somebody that said, why do women only go for looks? What do you think at home here? Like, first of all, do you agree with that question? Do you think that women only go for looks? And again, this was written by a gentleman. I have to say, I kind of disagree with that. Now, granted, yes, there are some women out there who strictly, they'll say, I just want a hot guy. Okay, great. But when it comes to like a relationship, getting more than I think there's a lot more things that people look for, even initially. It really depends on the woman, right? Same thing with men, okay? So, and let me know again out there what you think. Write it in the comments. Do you think that that's even a true statement that women only go for looks? And if not, what do you think they go for? Now, being a woman and having a lot of single girlfriends and a lot of women who are always out on the prowl and looking for guys, I can tell you, looks, I don't even know if it really comes up. I mean, sure, they'll be like, yeah, he's handsome or he's cute, but there's a lot more going into it. There are some women that are really hardcore on what they want. Some women won't even talk to a guy or anything unless they're making 6 to 7 figures, right? So it's all about money. That's some women. Again, not all. Some women will only go out with a guy if he's a minimum of 6'2", all right? So then it's all about height. Some women will only go out with a guy if he is close to his family, a family-oriented man. Okay. Some women only want to go out with a guy who has kids, who's been married before. They think that if he's a certain age and he's never been married, something must be wrong with him. There are so many fish in the sea, men and women, and everybody has their own lists, their own wants, their own desires of what they're looking for. So to make a blanket statement feeling like every woman just wants somebody who's handsome and tall and this and that, and they're never gonna like me because I don't fit into their mold. Not true. You're in luck. It's okay. Not everybody goes for the same things, and that's why there's somebody for everybody. I think that it's really, really important when it comes down to looking for a partner that you are looking for what serves you, like what you want and what you can give to that person. Like if you know that somebody is looking for X, Y, and Z, for example, you know that a woman only is looking for somebody who is very wealthy, that can take care of her, that financially and more. So not just financially like, oh, you could pay my rent or you could do this, but really like you could pay my rent and my Christian Louboutins and my, Louis Vuitton bags and my Gucci, like all that, So if you are somebody who doesn't have a salary that can cover all that and you know that's the only thing that she wants, why are you asking out that woman, right? Like, don't even ask her out. She's not worth your time. Go to somebody who would appreciate what you have, what you can do, who you are, what you want, right? So that's number one. Number two, if there's a woman who for example, is only looking for looks. Let's say she is fresh off of a magazine cover and you know that she's already stated, you've heard her say, I want somebody who looks like Brad Pitt. Okay, if you know that, then and she's that superficial that she just wants to look for looks, doesn't even want to get to know you and see your personality, see what you're about, again, why are you wasting your time? Right? So if you know what somebody wants, and again, sometimes you don't know until you meet them. Sometimes you don't know until you actually read their dating profile if you're doing online dating, or if you're at a bar and you go up to somebody, you kind of know, the way they treat you, the way they talk to you, where they're at as far as if they want to move forward, getting to know you better, right? And so what I would say was, don't necessarily think that, oh, I'm doomed because this woman didn't think I was attractive to her. I think my water just started. I almost just say my water broke, but I'm not pregnant. I know my water in the tub just dribbled a little bit. It must have been agreeing with me. Anyway, my point is, if you know that somebody is looking for something that you can't deliver, don't give it. don't even try. Like, who cares? Move on. There's going to be somebody else who will appreciate you, who will think that you're adorable, who will think that you're cute, who will appreciate your personality, whatever you have to offer and give. And that's going to be the match made in heaven. Again, you don't have to go for the woman who says, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z, and I want, Thor or whatever. If you don't look like Thor and you know she wants Thor, don't ask her out to dinner. Simple as that. Okay? Good. All right, I hope that cleared up that question. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, because I do feel badly, like when people write to me and they're like, why do women only do this? Or why do men? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, these are really blanket statements, and I'm going to try to answer them as best as I can. But again, I'm just one woman's opinion, right? So listen, the other question is, why do men only go for looks? And I'm going to say the same thing. Not true. Now, I will admit that I think that early on, and again, this also depends on like age dynamic. I think like the younger you are, the more that looks are like important, because you don't know otherwise, right? Like when you're super young, like you don't really think about the importance of, a good personality, or the importance of a great job, or having drive, or, being respectful and kind. Like you just don't think about those things when you're super young. But as you get older, I think that like looks on a scale tend to change a little bit. I mean, obviously you still want to be attractive to the person, but it's not top priority. I will say yes, probably as compared to men and women, I would say maybe looks are maybe more important to men first off, like very, very early on. But I think that when you're really, at least the men that I've spoken with, I think that when you're really looking for like a relationship and more than just, a quick wham bam, thank you ma'am, I think you're really looking for more than looks, because looks obviously fade. And especially like for me, going back to the men thing, like you could be with the most gorgeous person in the world, but the minute like they open up their mouth and their personality, that can take them from like a hero to zero, like right away. If you have like a bad personality, your looks, And the same thing I've heard with men as well. If you have this 10, 12 woman who's amazing, like she's hot, gorgeous, like Barbie doll, whatever your type is, like Arabian princess, whatever the thing is, right? If she doesn't have a good personality to match that, and she's rude or she's disrespectful, she is no longer pretty, she is no longer hot. You don't want to be with her, right? Because what are you going to do? I mean, you just stare at her all day and tell her to keep her mouth shut? No. So I think that it really comes down to, it depends what you're looking for. If you're just looking for like a quick date, a quick whatever, a quickie, like I would say that, it's maybe you're looking for looks right away, right? But when it comes to relationships, I think people really do take their time and they do take into account what the future would look like. And again, when you're young, you don't really think about this stuff because you're not really thinking about a future, right? I mean, I don't think when you're like 20 years old or 22 years old, well, again, depending where you're from, and you're going out in the town and you're with a bunch of friends and you're trying to find somebody to go out with, I don't think you're really thinking, well, I wonder if they'd be a good mom, or I wonder if they'd be a good dad. Like, I mean, are you thinking that way? I don't think I was at that age. I definitely wasn't at that age because I just wanted to party and have fun. And I was like, all right, yeah, who's the cutest guy in the room? You know what I mean? And I think that that's the mentality when you are in your 20s or you're a teenager, when you first realize, I can date somebody? You know what I mean? Like you don't think about the future. But as you do get older, you start thinking about things that are important to you. And I don't know whether it's men or women, I really don't think that looks are the number one top priority. Why is my drain continuously peeing out more water? I don't need any more water. I could use some more bubbles, but I don't need any more water. All right, so we've got that under control. Yes, I think. Maybe? Yes. Good. All right. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Men, women, are looks the number one thing? Is that all you go for? And what do you go for? Let me know what you think is most important. All right. Another question that came in from our fabulous peanut gallery. How do you know it's love? Like, when is it a good time to say, I love you? Hold the phone. First of all, I'm all about love, right? I mean, I have hearts on. Oh gosh, please. But Love, listen, that is something that's very subjective. There is no time frame on love. There is no time frame on when you should say, I love you. This is something that you feel. Everybody is different, right? Everyone is different. Just because I feel like I'm in love, for example, with somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're in love with me as well at the same time. Everybody's timing is different. So I would say the best way to know if you're in love, honestly, is to go with what your heart is telling you. Go with a feeling. You get it's like a sensation. Oh my God, I feel like I'm doing a York peppermint patty commercial right now. It is, it's like a cool sensation, right? It's like you get this butterfly, this twitter, it's like this happiness, like you think about them, or you get a text or a phone call and you just smile, or like they walk into the door and you're like, hi, like you can't wait. It's like that just need, that want, that desire to be with that person. And when you're not with them, you think about them, right? And you think all good thoughts, and you think, when am I going to see them? And you can't wait to talk to them again and hear their voice. I remember when I was young, this was the thing that when I was young, I'm going back to my teen years, I was so boy crazy. I really was. I was and I was very fickle too. Oh my God, that's a whole nother topic, but I was very fickle and I was very boy crazy. So it's I felt like I was falling in love every 30 seconds. And I would want to stay on the phone all night long. I would literally sleep with my boyfriends on the phone, right? I'd fall asleep on the phone, and then in the middle of the night, I'd hear my mom pick up the phone or my dad pick up the phone from downstairs, Marla, are you on the phone? Get off the phone! Yelling, and I'm because we had this phone system in our house where lights would light up depending on which line anybody was on. So, at 3 a.m, they knew it was me. And oh God, that was terrible. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I used to love doing that. And it was I remember one of my boyfriends, he's like, I want to come see you. And it was the middle of the night, we were on the phone, and I was like, how do I turn the alarm off? I didn't even know how to turn the alarm off. I'm how do I go outside and meet him at the driveway just to say hello, maybe get a good night kiss? Those things, when you're young, they make you feel oh my God, I'm so in love. I am going to be with this person forever. They are the man of my dreams. How was I lucky enough to find this at the age of 17? You think that this is the end all be all of person for you. It's a little different as you get older. I will tell you, it's a little different as you get older, because when you're that age, I believe it was the next day that I was suddenly out of nowhere, the person did nothing wrong, but out of nowhere I was oh my God, how do I break up with this guy? And I did not know how. I was a terrible breaker-upper. I'd have to have my mom break up with all my boyfriends for me. I was so bad at breaking up. I never wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. I still don't, but I never wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. I was terrible at breaking up, and I'm what am I gonna do? I don't like this person. It was terrible. It was horrible. Anyway, I digress. Getting back to knowing when it's love. So when you're young, again, all these feelings flutter in. Now, the feelings should also flutter in as you get older. However, it's a little bit different because you start thinking about other things. And you start thinking maybe a little bit more methodically. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's you start thinking, would this person make a great partner forever? Instead of oh my God, I'm so in love, I'm gonna be with them forever. No. You start questioning it, right? And you start thinking, God, can I see a future with this person? Can I see living with them? Can I see raising a family if that's something you want to do? Can I see growing old with them? I think that for me, that is something that's super, super important, right? Can you see yourself growing old with that person? And if you can't imagine living without them, right? If you don't see something in your future where where you get excited about having to go somewhere by yourself, or having to, go to a party alone, or go to a bar or a nightclub and get a cocktail by yourself. If that's something that doesn't excite you, and you just really don't want to go if that person's not with you, I would say that's a good sign that you're in love. Not to say that just because you go out without your partner or this and that you're not in love. No. Don't take it the wrong way. What I'm saying is, because by the way, I think it is very, very important to have alone time away from your partner. I think it is very, very important to have alone time with friends without them around. That's very, very important. That does not mean that you're not in love. So let me make sure that you understand that. But what I'm saying is, if you're sitting at home craving them not being around, and you're well, maybe in a year I'll be single, that's probably not love, right? Would you agree with me, everybody? Yeah, right? When do you think it's love? I feel like it's love when they're the only person that occupies your mind. You're not thinking about anyone else that you could possibly want to go out with or spend the rest of your life with or spend the time with. Like that person makes you smile. They fill your heart with joy. They make you feel like $1,000,000. Like I do think that that is another thing that is very, very important. That when you are in love and the person that you are in love with and vice versa, you should both make each other feel better. All the time. Better about yourselves, better about situations. If someone's sad, lift them up. You know, you never want to feel like you're in competition with your partner. That I feel like is very, very unhealthy, and that's not love. You know, if you're trying to grasp to make somebody love you, or you're trying to grasp to get their attention, that's not love, okay? So it's really, really important to know, like, you should really lift each other up, make each other feel good. I think that that's very, very important. If somebody is purposely kind of like trying to knock you down a peg or two, like they think that you're, oh, well, you know, too many people like you, or, you know, you're on a high, like, you don't want to be with somebody like that. They should love that other people like you. They should love that other people are paying you compliments. You shouldn't get in trouble. You shouldn't be punished if somebody else thinks that you're pretty. Like your man or your woman, if another woman is thinking that your guy is handsome and hot, you shouldn't get mad at him for that. You should be like, yeah, he's mine. And vice versa. You know, the man, you should be like, yeah, shit, that's my girlfriend. Like, girl, that's my wife. That's my partner, whatever that is. You should love and embrace that other people want what you have, but you have it. And you should be secure in that, because if they didn't want to be with you, they wouldn't. There you go. So how do you know it's love? I hope I answered that. I think it's a feeling. It's like the butterflies, you know, and when is the right time to say I love you? You got to feel that for yourself. There is no time. I would say sometimes it just comes out when you least expect it, you know, and it is nice to hear it back, but don't say it in hopes and in guarantee that you think you're going to hear it back, because sometimes you don't. And that shouldn't derail your relationship at all. Again, it's just that sometimes people are on different time frames, different timing, and it's totally okay to be like that, okay? So I just want to make sure you understand that. All right, I hope that helped. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? When do you say I love you? When is the time? All right, here we go. Another question. What do you do if you and your partner have different energy levels? Okay. What do you think at home? What do you do if you and your partner have different energy levels? Is that okay? Yeah, I think that's okay. Very rare. I mean, listen, you don't want to date yourself. And if you're both Energizer bunnies, you're going to be running around town, like bumping into each other. Like, you don't need to be on the same energy levels. Like, and by the way, you also don't want to be like two sloths, right? It's like, because then you're just going to be laying in bed all day and doing nothing. So it's really nice to have different energy levels. I don't quite know what the underlying question was there with energy levels, but keeping it on the up and up, I'm going to say, like, you know, even just like going out, right? There can be a compromise. You don't have to go out until 6 o'clock in the morning, until the sun is coming up, right? Unnecessary, you know, but you also don't have to go out and be home by 7:45. You have to like split the difference, okay? Like, you don't have to go out every single night of the week, like whatever that is. Like, if you have to feel it out with your partner. I think that communication is really, really important. I've said this before on numerous occasions. I think that communication is like number one. So if something is making you feel uncomfortable in a relationship, you have to express that. And if that comes down to energy levels, then you need to say, hey, I love going out with you. I love going dancing with you, whatever that is. I love going to play golf with you, whatever. I don't play golf, but I'm just saying, whatever that sport is or activity is that you guys do together, like, and somebody wants to do it more, longer, whatever, like, you just need to communicate. This is where like kind of my threshold is. I'm happy to do these things with you, but I can't do them as long as you want to do them. You know, like, I can't go dancing until, you know, whatever, midnight every single night of the week. Okay, we won't go dancing until midnight every night of the week. Or like, I can't play 18 rounds of golf 4 days a week. All right, we won't play golf 4 days a week. By the way, that's a lot of golf and it's expensive. But again, I don't play golf, so what do I know? But so I think that it really comes down to communication and it's totally okay. And you know what? If you know you're gonna have a big weekend and there's a lot of stuff coming up, take a nap. Is that so bad? It's a little bit more cuddle time for you guys. So, get on the same page and help each other. Again, it's about building each other up, making each other feel good. Like, you don't ever want to make somebody feel badly about the decisions that they're making when you're in a relationship, especially if you are really close and if you are in love. Like, don't make somebody feel badly about bringing something to your attention. You know what I mean? Like, because then what you don't want to do is stifle them and stifle the communication for future problems, right? Because if you do that, they're not going to want to talk to you about things, and then it's like, oh my God, So, yeah, I would say energy levels, totally fine. You could have totally different energy levels and you're gonna be okay. All right, oh my goodness, we're running out of time here. Okay, one more question. Oh my God, we're gonna have to do another Ask Marla series here. All right, one more question. How do you get your partner to communicate with you? All right. This comes into play, like what I just said, communication is number one in a relationship. All right, it's the number one thing that can keep you together or break you apart. If you don't communicate, you will eventually break apart. It's impossible to stay together if you're not communicating. It's impossible. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to sit there and stare at each other and your good looks or whatever you have, or just go shopping in silence or whatever the case is. You have to communicate in order to have a healthy relationship. Now, if your partner is having trouble communicating with you, I think it's time to sit down and have a serious talk. Again, communicate. So if one of you is not a good communicator and the other one is, it is now on you to bring that out of the other person and to really handhold this, because this is like an important topic. It's very serious here, okay? So if somebody is having trouble communicating, sit down with them, be serious about it, and just say, listen, what can I do to make it easier for you to feel more comfortable to communicate with me? Is there something that I'm doing that maybe is making you feel like you can't tell me things or you're having trouble communicating? Like, how do we fix this? I want to work with you. That's the important thing, is you want to let them know you want to work with them, okay? You're not punishing them by not being a good communicator. I mean, some people just don't know how to express themselves that well, and that is okay. But you can work together to be better communicators, which will then blossom and grow your relationship, and it will be so much better. Trust me, if there's one thing I know, that is it. It is that communication makes or breaks a relationship. All right, everybody. Woo! All right, we made it through some Ask Marla. Again, if you have any questions or topics that you want to discuss, please send them to me. You could DM me, you could write them in the comments here, whatever you would like. I love doing these types of like Ask Marla things. I know we did a couple episodes with Jim where he had a bunch of questions and he wants to do more. He has more questions. So we'll have him come on again. But I wanted to get to the peanut galleries questions, so that's why I did this episode this time. We will have our guests back. Do not worry, we will be back in our other set soon. We just kicked it old school today, a little vintage style in the bubble bath. All right, so again, if you're not watching and you're just listening on like Spotify or iHeartRadio or any of the places where you stream your podcasts, you're not actually seeing that I am in a bubble bath and that we usually are in a hot tub. But if you are watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube or on the getwetwithmarla.com, yeah, did you know that I have my own website right now? Getwetwithmarla.com. You could watch the episodes from the beginning. Then you will see that we are indeed in a different location today, in a bubble bath, not in the hot tub. All right, now before we run out of time, I do want to get to our little trivia part, guys. Now this is where I ask you some questions, and you in the peanut gallery, that means all of you out there, you are going to write in the comments what you think the answers are, okay? So here we go. The first question. According to a YouGov study, according to a YouGov study, what percentage of men rank good looks within their top 3 priorities in a relationship, right? In a partner. What is the percentage of men that rank good looks within their top 3 priorities in a partner? What do you think that is? What do you think that is? So we're talking about men, okay? Now we'll get to the women soon, but we're talking about men now. Now, according to the study, there's a top 3 of priorities when you're looking for a partner, okay? Where do good looks rank in there, okay? Where do good looks rank in there? What percentage of men rank good looks within their top 3, okay? So that means that I think sometimes these things get a little confusing, so I'm trying to really explain this here. That means that if all men, right, if they have top 3 priorities, what is the percentage where good looks is one of those top 3? I'm not saying it's the top, I'm saying it's in the top 3, okay? So what do you think? Ooh, my headband seems to be falling off me here. Okay, so what do we think? What do we think that is? And what do you write it in the comments? Let me know what you're thinking. I think you might be a little bit surprised here, maybe not. I don't know. But I will tell you that this is, again, according to a YouGov study, the percentage of men that rank good looks within their top 3 priorities in a partner is 47%. Only 47%. Do you think that's high or low? Do you think people are lying? Do you, as a man out there, do you have good looks in your top 3? Is that important to you? Now, I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to get to the women, okay? So now, according, again, to the same the YouGov study, what is the percentage of women who rank good looks in their top 3 priorities? What do you think that is? What do you think that is? Is it the same as men, do you think? Is it higher than men? Do you think women prioritize good looks more than men do? Is their top 3 priorities? Or do you think it's less? And why? Why do you think, I want to know why you think that in your answer. I know that my answer would be, I would think it would be less for me. Again, because I'm somebody who feels like good looks are great, but they fade. How long can you have them for? I mean, listen, I've seen some very, very handsome 110-year-old men. Well, I'm being exaggerating here, but you know what I mean? Like, sure, yes, but it can't be the only thing that you go for, right? I mean, I don't think so. So I will tell you that as opposed to, we now know that men were 47%. They ranked good looks within the top 3 priorities in a partner was 47%. For women, the percentage of women that rank good looks within their top 3 priorities in a partner is only 20%. Less than half of what the men do. 20%. It's like nothing. Like, what else is there? What are they ranking? That's what I'm curious about. I want to know what's in the top 3. If looks isn't even in there, like, what's in the top 3? All right, here we go. What is the number 1 trait 80% of men, okay, this is the number 1 trait 80% of men say they look for in a woman or deem most important, okay? What is the number 1 trait 80%? Wow, that's a lot, okay? So 80% of men say this is the number 1 trait they look for in a partner, all right? What is it? What do you think that is? 80% is a lot, you guys. That's a lot, okay? Now, 80% of men are saying this. Some of you have got to get this right. Come on. Unless they're all lying. Unless they're all lying, write it in the comments. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? I will tell you that 80% of men are saying that the number 1 thing that they look for that's most important in a woman, in a partner, personality. Men said that. That's what the men said. Wow. I was a little shocked, I gotta be honest. But I love that, and I kind of agree. Like, I hear that all the time from men. Like, oh my God, she had the best personality, da-da-da-da-da. Like, great. I think personality goes a long, long way. So for everybody out there that, again, they write to me and they're like, what is it? Why don't they like me? They don't think I'm pretty, blah, blah, blah. Let your personality shine, baby. Because personality, 80% of men think that that is the number 1 thing that they look for in a woman. All right. Now, what is the number 1 characteristic women look for in men, according to 80% of women, all right? So 80% of women say they look for 1 thing in a man. Actually, I think it was 90% of women, now that I think about it. I think it's 90% of women say they look for this in a man. We'll say 80 to 90%, just to see. Yeah. What is the number 1 trait women look for in a man? Now, we already know now that men look for personality. To be honest, I would have thought that would be the same for women, but it's not. So I just gave you a big clue there, okay? It is not personality. It is something else, all right? So what do you think it is? Write it in the comments. What do you think? This is 80 or 90% of women say this is the number 1 characteristic they look for in a man, all right? When looking for a partner, not just a, right? Okay, what do you think it is? What do you think it is? Are you ready? All right, so I would say most of the women say their number 1 trait of looking for a man is kindness. Kindness. And I got to agree, that's awesome. I think that is really, really important. Being kind is super, super important. Oh my God, I could go down a whole rabbit hole of why it's important, or things that like, when they're not kind to a waiter or a waitress or any, oh my God, I hate that. So yes, kindness, I think that's super, super important. All right, everybody, we made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching Get Wet with Marla. Again, today we're in the bubble bath. We will be back to the set later. We are on all of your places where you stream podcasts, so please check us out there. Follow, please subscribe. We're on YouTube now. Look for Get Wet with Marla, and you could also go to getwetwithmarla.com and check out all the past episodes. All right, everybody, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.